All right, joining me now is a longtime friend and the voice of Sunday Night Football on NBC, getting set to call a second consecutive playoff home game for the Lions. Let me say that again. A second consecutive home playoff game for the Detroit Lions. Mike Tirico here on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Mike?
How about it? Good morning, bud. How you doing?
I know. 2 games in a row for the Detroit Lions in the playoffs after not having won in 30-plus years. What was it like in that building? You obviously, as Collinsworth pointed out, live in the state of Michigan, and I'm no doubt surrounded by all these Lions fans, Mike.
Yeah, congratulations on your Wolverines,
Thank you, sir.
Rich.
Appreciate
of course,
that.
You're welcome. What a week. I don't think the state has ever had a better football week, with Michigan winning the national championship for the first time since '97 on Monday, and then the Lions winning a playoff game for the first time in 32 seasons. It was obviously great scene, great atmosphere, emotional people, longtime fans. I'll tell you what the coolest parts were. Mm-hmm. Cold day, people in an hour and a half before the game, watching the Packers-Cowboys on the big screen, and the Green Bay Packers, the rival for the Lions, being cheered loudly when they would score touchdowns. Everybody fully cognizant of a loss by the Cowboys meant what we have Sunday, a home game for Detroit for the second straight week. So that was one part. And then 45 minutes before the game, I'm down on the field. I was talking to somebody from the Rams. They looked at me and said, "There's a coach said, have you ever seen a building this full at this point before kickoff?" And I said, no. And then about 10 minutes later, I go back up to the booth. Stafford comes out and gets booed. Goff comes out and gets cheered. And it was almost like being at a UFC fight or a hockey game. They just started chanting his name, like 50,000 people, 45 minutes before kickoff. I've never seen that at an NFL game. So that gives you a sense of how special the atmosphere was.
And then the game was easily the best game of Super Wildcard Weekend, just in terms of the competition, in terms of everything else that was going on off the field and the backstory. The game was, you used the perfect word, Stafford slinging it. He was slinging it. I mean, nobody throws a prettier ball at different angles like him. And obviously for him to do that under these circumstances were remarkable. What a great game it was, Mike.
Watching him from when he got drafted, Rich, watching a lot of those games where the Lions weren't winning, I loved watching him play. And I thought he endeared himself to people around the league or anybody who was a Detroit fan. The first year in NFL films had him mic'd. He gets knocked out, busts up his ribs against Cleveland. I can go back in, going for 2, gets up, goes back in, throws it, is in a ton of pain. And they win the game. I think it was 39-38 or something like that. And it was a lot like that on Sunday. He got beat up, battered, looking up at the ceiling of the stadium, which he's done about 500 times, but kept coming back for more. I love watching him play. I love that what the Rams did this year, what Les Snead, the general manager, Kevin Demoff, the team president, and obviously Sean McVay, what those guys did, they kind of rebuilt it around some big studs. You know, when you're doing a remodeling project, well, they had studs in McVay and Donald and Stafford, and they rebuilt around it. And the Rams are back. And I think it's great for the league, and I think it's great in general that they turned around, took the cap hit, and survived, which is a lot like the Bucs, right? The Bucs were $80 million underwater in the cap with this big hit. This season was supposed to be, we'll see in a couple of years. And now they're in the final 8, a game from the championship game. Go figure.
Yeah, Aikman definitely pointed out during the game that they were overcapped, that they needed someone to step in, and Baker Mayfield was that guy. And now here he is coming to Detroit, where he's in the role of underdog, which is exactly the role he relishes. And then there's the Lions as well. What's your favorite Dan Campbell moment you've had already in the broadcast meeting room? I've never had a broadcast meeting prior to a game with him. I imagine he's dynamite, Mike.
It's the same thing. He's the same way. He's the same exact way that he is on camera, same way he is at the podium. He is consistent. I'll give you one, Rich. So there's a policy conference. It's kind of a state conference at Mackinac Island, which is the island that connects, or really is between, the lower and the upper peninsula of Michigan. It's held in May. I was up there hosting a panel. It was sports athletes and people in sports and leadership. And Dan Campbell was one of the guys there. And I got to spend some time with him away from football, away from the questions about your quarterback or your offensive line. And he's a smart guy. He's not a meathead. He's not a 3 yards and bite your kneecaps and all the stuff that we talk about with him. He's a really smart guy. And I think, Rich, as you're looking at these 7, 8, whatever it is, openings for head coaches, what do we talk about a lot? Not coordinators and what's your game plan, what kind of program you're going to bring in. We're talking about leaders of men. We're talking about guys who can lead an organization with a clear vision and focus. And I can't think of anybody who defines that better than Dan Campbell. And it's an all-the-time definition from him when it comes to that. So that's why I'm very pro Dan Campbell for the short term, what he's done, and the long term going forward.
Mike Tirico joining me here prior to calling Lions and Bucs on divisional playoff Sunday here on the Rich Eisen Show. And then again, Mayfield is coming in. This is a team that just eliminated the Eagles, and they did it with relative ease, despite having, obviously some holes. So coming in here, I don't know if you've had a chance to chat with the Buccaneers yet, what your 2 cents are about the NFC South champs to take on the NFC North champs here. Mike.
We will over the next day. I was just watching them this morning, watching back the Lions-Bucs game from week 6 in Tampa that the Lions won 20-6. I think it's a much improved Tampa team from then. I really love the way Mayfield is playing. The offensive line has come together. It's a movement on that line coming into the season, and I think they've played better as the year has gone on. Vita Vea had a good game in the playoffs against Philadelphia, and that back end has had some injuries, and now everybody's healthy, and it's given Todd Bowles multiple players to play in different roles in different places. So I really like what this team has, especially Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. You go to those guys on a regular basis, and the Lions have struggled over the last 4 games. Justin Jefferson twice, CeeDee Lamb in the Saturday night game in Arlington. And then last week, Puka Nacua had a rookie record playoff game for receiving yards. So I think this will be a pretty close game. It'll be a tough game. And I think the team that runs the ball better and dictates what they can do in the pass game and controls the clock, like most playoff games, probably the team that'll walk away, go into the NFC Championship game, which just sounds crazy around Detroit and Tampa Bay, right? Two longtime downtrodden franchises, 2 teams that have become a home for number 1 overall quarterbacks who didn't make it with their teams, and now somebody's going to be a win away from the Super Bowl. Kind of cool story.
There's no doubt about it. Mike Tirico here on the Rich Eisen Show, and that Lions-Rams game was the second in 2 nights that you called on NBC, I guess, family of networks.
You got it.
You streamed one, and then you broadcast another. Just so you're aware, from my point of view on the couch, you sounded just the same, streamed on the internet.
Streaming or streamed through. Different streaming experience.
Couldn't tell the difference.
I will tell you. There was no difference for us. I'll tell you the one funny part of the night for me. I wasn't joking. I had no idea where Taylor Swift
she was right.
Spot was. I didn't know where it was. I really am looking down in the third quarter going, why are these people holding their cell phones up to me and Jason Garrett taking pictures? And then they'll kind of do the game. I'll come back and you look down and go, oh, wait a minute. It must be Taylor. She must be above us. Yeah. And until our director, Pierre Musa, had the camera move, I didn't know. So it's good to find out. I came away more informed, and the Peacock audience got a little extra additive bonus for that.
For a second, you thought Karma was a boy being streamed on Peacock, and then you learned. That's it.
Look at you.
You look good.
Look at you.
Next level, as we used to say back on SportsCenter. Next level.
Gosh, don't start.
As Kilborn used to say, that's next level.
The good show, no post for the 11 o'clock SportsCenter. It was one of the highlight pages, and there'll be no post media. It was a good show, nice pacing.
Good night. See you later.
I'll tell you what, the Chiefs, Rich, it's going to be fascinating watching them on the road. I think they're ready for it too. They looked different. They looked kind of playoff in tune a little bit. We met with Kelsey. He feels like there was a little bit extra juice. He didn't play the Week 18 game. Didn't go for that another 1,000-yard season. I like what they have, and Buffalo's defense got beat up in that game on Monday. It's a short week for them, even though they're home. So after our game, I'm going to be excited to get to a TV and watch that one. That's going to be, in the history of Mahomes and Allen, they've really built a Manning-Brady type rivalry. And it'd be great to see one of these games in Orchard Park and see how Mahomes plays up there.
Yeah, I started the show on Wednesday, Mike, by saying we've seen Mahomes in every possible role in his career. We've never seen him in the role of road playoff villain, the guy who's going to come in and quiet the crowd and break 80,000 hearts at once, right? Like we've never seen him do that before. We've seen him break the hearts of half a stadium in a neutral site Super Bowl. We've seen that. Right. We saw that last year in Arizona as the Philadelphia Eagles fans were all crying around me in the section I was sitting in. We've never seen him do it. And of all places, it's in Western New York where Bills fans are relishing finally having him in their house for a change. I can't wait for that.
Exactly. And he's won so many games. I think the record's something like 85-25, right? He's won so many good road games, tough environments.
Sure.
I don't think he's going to blink for a second, right? The question is, how do the other people around him play, right? I know Kelsey's going to play well as he's played over the last few years, whatever that is at this point. How are the other guys going to do on the road in this environment? I speak of the young receivers. Are they going to come up with the big plays or not? Rashee Rice is a real deal weapon. I thought, Rich, if there was a takeaway from week one of the playoffs, Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta, Rashee Rice, Puka Nacua, a bunch of rookies came in and played at a really high level. We always talk about playoff game and how you're going to deal with it. Man, a bunch walked right in and didn't blink and had just as good a game as they did in the regular season. So something to keep an eye on as we go forward. These guys don't flinch. They're not worried, and they jump in there and have the big impact as well.
And then there was the first game on NBC that preceded the one on Peacock. Stroud, he's out of his skull. And then Jordan Love in Dallas. I don't know if you saw these numbers. This is wild. They have the same exact stats, Mike, with the exception of Stroud had 2 more passing yards than Love. Everything else down to the rating is the same. It's unreal.
It's pretty nuts, right? Pretty nuts for first playoff games. Rich, it's a copycat league. We talk about that all the time. You guys talk about that on game day morning on a regular basis. When is someone going to look at this and say, you know what? The way to do this is the way Green Bay has. Maybe not sit him for 3 years. Draft a guy late first round, like your guy, J.J. McCarthy.
Right.
Like Michael Penix out of Washington. Let's draft a guy and let him sit for a year. Let's see the last couple of guys who've done that. Jordan Love looks like it's worked out fabulously. That's 3 years. Mm-hmm. But also Patrick Mahomes didn't play that whole rookie season. Waited until Alex Smith was finished. Played the one game, the meaningless Week 17 game at that point, and has gone on and hasn't looked back. Maybe instead of throwing the guy in week 1, week 2, listening to the fervor in the chat, maybe somebody looks and goes, "Look, Jordan Love, Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. There's something in common. We waited, didn't throw him in, and you're benefiting from that now." I know the salary cap, and it's easy on a rookie quarterback with the contract and all that stuff. Makes a difference. I'm telling you, there's a reason that they play with the poise that they do once they get their opportunity.
With the draft coming to Detroit, it's all coming up the state of Michigan right now. It's kind of crazy. So not to let everyone in on a little too much how the sausage gets made, but you are, as I let you go, you are going to go see Aiden Hutchinson. You're sitting down with number 97 for the pregame show. Okay.
Hutch for the pregame show. Now, I'm not going to do charades with him.
Okay.
I'm not going to try to take a game day morning shtick.
Got it.
But it's a weird day for me because Sunday we have a 3:00 start.
Yes.
That's the first game. We're usually the night game, so I get to watch game day morning.
There you go.
All the pregame shows, the early games, the late games. And I have to tell you, the charade segment might be the first. Michael Irvin's reaction last week was somewhere between hysterical and troubling.
He did react like he won a 4th Super Bowl for the Dallas Cowboys. It's just because of the Pictionary with him drawing. He draws so poorly. It's so terrible. It is truly the worst thing that's ever been created with a marker. And the fact that he got one right to win it all, he did react in a way that was, as you said, hilarious and also troubling at the same time.
It was Scooby-Doo,
exactly.
Right? Yeah, it was Scooby-Doo.
And he drew the bus. He drew the bus because we've been using that as an analogy for the misery machine that the Cowboys have been in, that they're ironically enough still in, which might be brought up to Michael on Sunday a handful of times, or Saturday first.
Oh my gosh!
So
that's what I'm looking forward to, probably more than anything else on Saturdays, to watch the Michael Misery Index as you guys go through the show.
It's going to be great.
Just relentlessly bring it up.
Thank you.
I will say, in all seriousness, and I'm a friend of everybody who's on that show. Really, the joy of that show is you laugh. I mean, look, you're on for 4 hours. You guys are there, dang it, 6. You're on the air at 6 a.m. local time on the West Coast, but you laugh, and there's news, there's information, you get all the stuff you need, but there's just fun, and it's a reminder. This is entertainment. It is serious business, but It's good to laugh, and I look forward to those segments. And I sit there and I just cry. It's hysterical.
Thank you.
Good stuff.
I appreciate that. You tell Aiden Hutchinson I said hello, Mike. Okay, and say and because he's the one who started this thing. He's the one who kind of started turning the ship around and changing the culture and putting Michigan back in the playoffs. And
are you okay if Harbs goes to the NFL?
Yeah. Oh, come on.
You are.
Yes, because if he goes, let's say he goes to the Chargers. You know, there's that beautiful lake at SoFi Stadium that's man-made. He can walk on that, as far as I'm concerned. He can walk on it right now, Mike. Come on. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
I think a lot of people around the Michigan program feel the same way, that, we don't want you to go. We want you to stay and do 15 years in the legacy. But if you go, you gave us our trophy. You gave us the sweatshirt we can wear forever. We don't have to hear that, you have the most wins all time, but you haven't won a championship since 97. Oh, yeah. All that stuff kind of gets pushed away for the next 10 plus years. And that's like, you know what? Thanks. Good luck. You're always welcome back here.
That's right. Anytime. That's the way I feel. Mike, I look forward to seeing you do your thing as always. I
Thanks,
love you coming on. Thanks again, Mike.
Of course. See you, pal.
You got it. That's Mike Tirico at Mike Tirico NBC on Instagram. And by the way, great flex with the Masters mug, keeping yourself hydrated throughout this interview, Mike. Well done. I appreciate that.
Goodbye, friends.
Mike Tirico, everybody, right here on the Rich Eisen Show. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.